Okay, this is her debut. So I want you to really make her feel like, wow, okay, this is her first time speaking in front of all of, a Think and Grow Rich crowd. But let me just tell you why I'm so proud of her. I actually met her about 10 years ago, and I had an opportunity to train and mentor this young lady. Okay, so she's actually a student of mine. And so she's one of my mentees, but now I don't call her a mentee. She has now become an absolute powerhouse. She is so dynamic, so energetic, so influential. Her temperament, her authenticity, everything about her is so impressive. Okay? And more, what happens is when James Whitaker was talking about surrounding yourself with people, okay, at the same thinking, the same frequency, right? You guys know what I'm talking about when I say that? Have you ever gone to a party and met somebody, and within 5 seconds, you know whether you want to be with this person for the rest of this party or not? Yes. There's people that you can hang out with 12 hours and it felt like it was just a couple hours. You sat down for breakfast, you're like, can we get dinner menu, please? And there's other people within 5 seconds, they just suck the energy out of you. You need therapy, you need a massage. Does that ever happen to anybody in this room? Yes, no? You ever get people that say, I'm excited, John? I go, well, dude, could you tell your face? You ever talk to people like that? Well, I'm excited on the inside, John. Okay, no one goes and hangs out with people who are excited on the inside. People want to go to Hawaii and get into a helicopter and fly around a volcano that is what? Gushing and oozing out lava. Not one that's dormant. Anybody want to spend thousands of dollars and go fly over a dormant volcano? So this is why I tell people, man, if you're excited, tell your face. Good? Yeah. Well, this girl, she's always smiling. Always makes me feel good. I call this girl 24 hours a day, all week. She's picking up. And so I think she's got a lot to share with you. And I'm excited to hear her talk right now. When you're like a proud father, you know what I mean? And you see your child doing something in school. I kind of feel like that right now. You know what I mean? I get to see one of my students. So I want you guys to make some noise right now for the one and only, an amazing lady, Rollan, everybody. There you go. Take it away, lady.
I want to first thank each and every one of you here for, give yourselves a round of applause, please. For making that decision today that you guys are going to change your life permanently, right? John would always tell me, decision or decide. The Latin root word of cide, C-I-D-E, means to kill, right? And so decide, D-E, means to kill other options. So you guys basically killed all other options today and basically focused on you. So I just wanted to congratulate each and every one of you for making that decision to change your life. And of course, I want to thank John, who's been my mentor, not just in business, but in life. Thank you for really bringing back Think and Grow Rich back to life with the Think and Grow Rich movement, the world tour, and of course the movie, and to really having this huge vision that everybody here fits in, right? So I just want to give a round of applause to John Shin for everything that you're doing. Let's see if I can work this. All right, here we go again. It is my debut, so let me see. Our PowerPoint doesn't look like this. All right, perfect. All right, so my topic is really about thinking, right? And so if you haven't really read the book or it's been a while, these are all the 13 key principles of success in the Think and Grow Rich book, right? And so I want to start with a question. What would you attempt to do if you knew you wouldn't fail? What would you attempt to do? Tony Robbins said this too. What would you attempt to do if you knew you wouldn't fail? Write that down on your notes. What would you attempt to do, right? If today is a start of the rest of your life, what would you do? If you knew whatever you thought about, that it's a go, it's a green light, that you're gonna do it, right? And so James talked about ideal life and having balance, and with all different parts of your life, having you with your faith, your family, your fitness and finance. In the beginning of the year, we always talk about what is your ideal life, right? If you were to really, go to the beach and drink, wine or whatever you guys want to drink, well, how do you perceive, or how do you see your ideal life? What does it look like in terms of your faith, in terms of your confidence, your belief in yourself, and your family, and what does it look like? Are you always happy? Are you guys united? Are you guys always like loving each other? In terms of your fitness, are you fit? Are you, you have that six-pack, or maybe you're just healthy? And in terms of your finance, what does it look like, right? Have you created a dream board? Growing up, I always told myself, one day I'm going to be like this. Imagine a life wherein you don't look at the right side of a menu, you just look at the left side because you're so hungry. What does your life look like? What would you want it to look like? Right? Like, how can you put a picture to it? Because John would always say thoughts, feelings, and actions. If you think about it and you attach an emotion to it, then you start doing the stuff that you want to do, and you have desire to really be passionate and start taking action, right? And so, Think and Grow Rich said, there are no limitations to the mind except those we acknowledge. Both poverty and riches are the offspring of thought. What does this mean? Simply put, if you think you can, or if you think you cannot, you're right. Yeah. So I want to challenge and encourage, not really challenge, but encourage everybody to think, right? Think possibility, think peace of mind, think I can, think abundance, think big, think yes. Right? Think opportunities, blessings, success, love, wealth, happiness, and transformation. And really think, why not me? Right? You're probably looking at me like, why is she up the stage? And John, why me? Right? I always, I look at, when I started in this business, growing up, I've always wanted to do big things. I wanted to be somebody. I'm sure everybody in this room, you wanted to be somebody, right? Some people would want to be an astronaut, a doctor. Well, I wanted to be an architect, right? My dad was a civil engineer. It's crazy. Growing up, my parents were not really around me. Anybody here that's close to your parents? I hate you guys, or I'm kidding, I don't hate you guys, but growing up, I have the Filipino story where my parents moved to America to help us live the American dream, to have everything that we want, and we grew up in the Philippines for about 10, 15 years of our life. With my grandparents, I was surrounded with love, with my uncles and aunts, there's 7 of them, and growing up, I told myself, Mom, Grandma, I call her Mommy. Why is Pops always in America, in the USA? And talking about sacrifice, and they didn't really understand it in the beginning. And I told myself, one day, Grandma, I'm going to be so wealthy so we could all be together, right? And so I said, I want to be always with my dad. So I took architecture, that way I could be right beside my dad as a sidekick. And so I graduated, top of the class. I told myself, I went to Boston, from the Philippines to Boston. I didn't know feet and inches. I didn't know anything. I didn't know how to speak English. And I remember in the lobby of the school, I looked at the art, the design, the architecture design, and I said, one day my stuff's gonna be here. I didn't even know that those people on the bottom were like thesis awardees, and when I graduated 7 years after, I graduated top of the class. One day turned into my day one, right? And so I graduated in 2008, that was when the market crashed. I moved back to San Francisco, that way I could be closer to my family. And John Shin landed on my lap, right? Not literally, but I got invited to an event. And so I got invited to an event and John spoke. That was 10 years ago, and it completely changed my life, right? In 1996, John said that his mentor gave him his book, Think and Grow Rich. Well, in 2009, John Shin gave me a book, Think and Grow Rich, right? And so he basically took me under his wing and mentored me in his business. And as an entrepreneur, I was, I was reflecting last night about the last 10 years of my life, and I'm just so, I'm just gonna go back. I'm just so excited because the first picture right here is when the first time I've ever spoke. And I told myself, one day they're gonna ask me to speak. That was only 3 minutes, right? One day they're gonna ask me to speak. I didn't put makeup on, I didn't expect it. And then they basically said, we want to bring up on the stage Chin Rollan. I'm like, Right? So one day turned into my day one. And I told myself, there's the first picture that I have with John with my mom. And I said, one day I'm going to get mentored by John Shin. He doesn't know my name right now, but one day he's going to know my name. He's going to know my number. He's going to text me at night. And now at 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, John Shin will call me. Right? And so, mentorship, mastermind, we always talk about that. I was able to grow my business because of this mentorship that I have with John and leveraging. And I was, one of the things that I always said is I started to understand sacrifice that my dad did for me. Even if we were separated for almost 8 years. And I said, one day I want to give back. I want to thank my dad. Right? And I asked my dad, Dad, what kind of car do you want? And he said, a BMW X3. Is that crazy how specific he was? Clearly defined goals. And I'm like, shoot, that's kind of expensive. I was thinking Toyota Prius, right? And so I thought, okay, what color? And he said blue. And I said, okay, what interior do you want? White interior. And it was so specific. It's almost as if he already went there just to wait for me to ask, right? And so one day, it was before April Fool's Day, I went to the dealership, and the only car at the lot out of all the hundreds of cars was a blue car, right? Blue exterior, white interior. And I said, okay, let's see my, I actually, the slides that John showed, I actually applied that, the money factor, and I started negotiating, and I was on the phone, and I was like, and I got the deal at cost, or the agent didn't make any commission, which is, I guess, good for me, not for him, right? And so, apply what you learn, have a mentor and apply everything. And so I was able to surprise my dad on April Fool's Day with a car, right, as a symbol of my appreciation. My one day turned into day one. I didn't have to be a Hollywood star to buy a car. I just needed to really know what I want and be so passionate and just go for it, right? And so, how many people here are single? Well, once you have clearly defined goals, right, and you know what you want, you'll get it, right? So I told myself, my mentor told me, you gotta know what you want in a person. You gotta pretty much law of attract it and put it out there, and what kind of qualities. And I said, okay, I'm coachable. I listed everything that I want, and then one day after a year of being, working with this guy, and I said, I think it's him. Right? So my one day turned to my day one, having the partner that I have in the back right here in Allison. And so this one right here, my last photo, was when I spoke this year, right? I was thinking, what else can I do? I've read the book once, and this happened to me. But what if I embrace Think and Grow Rich, and not just read it once and then put it away, right? And so I basically said, one of my good friends who's at the back of the room, Earl, asked me, what do you want? And I'm going to ask the same question to you. What do you want? Not just the goals, not just the car, not just the lifestyle, not just the house, but what do you want? Meaning, what's your ultimate vision? That when you leave, what kind of legacy do you want to bring? Right? Are you going to be making an impact? Are you going to inspire? Are you going to win, like what James said? Are you going to, are you going to lead like that person pretty much empowered me? Well, for me, that word was influence. Right? I wanted to influence people. I may not be there yet, but I'm so excited to where I'm going to be, and I want to influence people to really inspire them to never quit, right? To find your purpose and to leave a legacy and unlock your truest potential, and educate you on the things that you probably don't know, right? And to really think no limit. To think, imagine driving home and it's all green light. Imagine if your life is all green light, no orange, no yellow, no red. It's all green lights, all go. To change your thinking, right? Tony Robbins said to change your state, to change your life, to change the way you think, and truly empower others, right? And so, at the beginning of the year, me and Allison said, we are going to be, mentored. We asked John, can you mentor us? And he looked at us like, I'm already mentoring you. No, but can you really mentor us? Right? And so he said, okay, but I want you to do one thing. Embrace Think and Grow Rich. Right? And I said, okay, that's kind of easy, right? Okay, so we went to the academy. There was a TGR Academy, and so we went into that. There's a lot of people here that were a TGR Academy graduates. Congratulations to us. And so, meeting so many people, like what John said, meeting the same frequency, surrounding yourself with like-minded people. Man, we got surrounded by 50 like-minded people that really raised our capacity and raised our mindset, right? And so beginning of the year, when we said we are going to align, when we are going to think and grow rich, rich, right? Because Think and Grow Rich is basically think big and grow rich, right? When we did that, we were actually featured in the Filipino channel, right, at the beginning of the year, and we did do the meetup, so I want to, shout out to some of my, Gerald, I think, is here. We have Tracy that's here in the back, that's part of our meetup group, and so we started our meetup group in Bay Area to really influence more people think and grow rich. We started getting surrounded by masterminds and mentors and with Satish and John and Arlene and just being surrounded by big thinkers, right? Whenever we tell our vision, they don't laugh. Right? Imagine talking to your friend and you say, I want to do this, I want to do that, and they start laughing like, okay, you do it first and then I'll do it next. No, everything that we wanted, it's almost like, well, why don't you do this instead of this? Right? And I'm like, oh, I never thought about that. Right? I never thought that big. And so you have to think, you always want to raise your lid, they always say. Right? If your lid is this is how the capacity you got to raise your lid. They always say if you're the wealthiest people in the room, you're probably in the wrong room. And so I would always think about that. And I would go to John's house and he would be so kind and generous to have us stay over, and me and Allison would be like, man, imagine one day this could be us. John didn't even know our names before. And now he basically, he's doing this not because he's just that kind, but he's doing this to pretty much say that this could be our life too. And he's doing this event just for you guys, for you to understand that, right? And so, and I told myself, I remember clearly John said, hey Chin, at his house, do you want to speak at a TGR World Tour? And I said, yeah. And he goes, well, do you have a book? And I said, what do you mean do I have a book? Are you an author of a book? And I said, not yet. And then he goes, okay, once you publish your book and you're an author of a book, then you could speak, right? And I said, and that night I said, babe, what could be my title? Why would people buy my book? Maybe I'll just give it to them for free. That way they could buy it, right? And so, I told myself one day I'm gonna speak. One day I'm gonna speak at this TGR World Tour. And that one day happened 2 weeks ago, right? John called me up and said, hey, what's up, Chin Rollan? And I said, John, how's it going? And he said, what you doing? And I said, no, just preparing for a trip to Sacramento. We're excited, we're fired up. We have X amount of people going. We're so excited. And so he goes, well, I would like for you to speak. Woo. Right? And so, wow, it's almost like I had to replay the message in my head, like, I want you to speak. And again, I'm not there yet with the Sharon Lecters and the James and the John, but just because I embraced Think and Grow Rich, if it could happen for me, it could happen for you. Make your one day your day one today, right? And so I'm going to end with 5 things. Number 1, make a decision today that you will allow yourself to think big. If growing up you were never allowed to do that, make a decision today that it's okay to think big. And if you do think big already, make a decision that you're going to think bigger, right? You're going to influence people to think big. Number 2 is find a mentor or mentors, right? Find a mentor and talk to them all the time. It's crazy how people would always, can you be my mentor? Yeah. And then you don't talk to them. You only talk to them when you do something good, right? Usually, especially when you're not doing anything, that's when you should be talking to them. That way they could course correct. Right? You start dodging a lot of bullets when you have mentorship, right? It cuts the time into more than half, really. Number 3 is create your mastermind alliance and surround yourself with people who empower you to become better. It's amazing to have this type of event. You understand that big events like this, you don't even get to take a picture with a speaker, you don't get to ask them questions, you don't get to say hi to them, right? It's crazy, the first event in Anaheim, I went up to Sharon Lecter and said, hi Sharon, I have your book, I don't have it with me, but you're so awesome, you're great. Well, thank you, right? Usually after they speak, they leave, but they're just here, so take advantage of that and ask them questions, right? By the way, I have my books, I'm gonna have you sign it later on. And so, number 4 is set clearly defined goals. Not just a goal, not just I want to make money, not just I want to be happy, but set clearly defined goals with a deadline. By this date, by December 31st, I would have hit this. I would have done this. I would have done this, this, and this. Right? When you start becoming more intentional, more things happen. You start creating your goals, and it's almost like a shopping list. It's almost like a checklist that you start doing, right? And so lastly, take immediate action. Today is a day that you're gonna kill procrastination. Done. I used to do that, right? I used to say always one day and never day one, right? And so this, I want you all to really start thinking and growing rich. And lastly, really begin, right? Bob Proctor said, really begin to allow and really begin to think and grow rich. James said, whatever the mind can conceive and believe, the mind can achieve. Right? I would have never thought 20 years ago when I decided, right? The decision that you make today is not based on what you did last week. It's not based on what you did a month ago or 6 months ago. You are here today because of all of the circumstances and the decisions you made from like 10 years ago. That's why you guys are here today. That's why other people can't make it. That's why you are here. And so take advantage of that. And I just want to say I appreciate everybody here, and I hope you guys all win. And John, again, thank you so much for everything. And again, let's all think and grow rich. Thank you so much.
This is your first tour. We offer an auction package to help give back. So Jen, you probably didn't think of one. We'll give you a couple minutes to think of one.
I didn't. I was actually getting nervous because I said, Matt, I'm going to auction you. I didn't know what to say.
So what would you like? Some people give, a lunch or an hour consultation or a Skype consultation, or if they have books or projects or courses that they have, so it's really up to you. And sorry to put you on the spot, but we are. And so this is the wonderful part.
Well, anything I could do, doesn't have to be 1 hour, doesn't have to be 2 hours, anytime that you guys, I don't really have a specific date, but I'm local, so anytime that you need advice, I could only share what I've done so far, but I'm very great at strategizing and finding the right people to help you guys get to where you guys need to be. So if that's something that you guys need, then.
So how about we sell a lunch strategy session for 2 hours. So you have lunch with figuring out discovery process, and then you do an hour then strategy session to help map out their dreams. Would that work?
Perfect.
Does that sound like a good package to sell?
That sounds way
So
better.
you get to know that this is what we do. This is how it gets made, and this is how relationships are born. Because you don't know, one of my friends, Brian Smith, who founded UGG Boots and built the brand of Uggs, and I sold a package with him, and then they ended up creating a business partnership and then started moving forward, and he opened all those doors like into Macy's and all these things from just this one auction package that I sold from him 2 years ago. And he came up to me and goes, "Thank you." And I was like, what do you mean, Brian? And he said, remember that thing that you sold me on and you did all that? And he goes, that developed into a business relationship, and now we have all this product that's coming out this year. And he's like, that came from one of the lunches and one of the appointments. So you don't know if this is going to be one of your next opportunities and where it's going to go. But the first way to begin is by raising your hand and saying yes. All right, so taking action. So who would like to start off? Who'd like to be 200? We're at $200. Who'd like to be 2? We want to be the first 200. And the money that you're going to be is donating to the Napoleon Hill Foundation. So this is a charitable contribution, and we really appreciate you get the tax donation value. And it's hard for me to go from my left brain into my right brain. We got 200 in the back. We're asking for 3. We got 300. Now we're asking for 4. See how it works? 3, 4. We're asking for 400. We got 300, now 4. Now $400 on it. Who'd like to be 4? And you get a copy of the beautiful red book. That's amazing, Asians. All right, so we're asking for 400. We got 400. Thank you very much. Now 5. We're asking for 500. Now we got another 5. We're asking for $500. Anybody else? $500. We got 400 in the back. Anybody else in? 400 going once. We're asking for 5. 500 going twice. We got a new bidder over there, 500. Now we're asking for 6. He said 6. It's your turn, sir. We have 500 over there. Now 600 would like to be 6. 600 going twice.
Wow.
600. Yes, who's got it? Now would you like to be 7? $700.
Yeah.
Would you do 2 of them?
Sure.
Would you do like to be 6? All right, so we're at 600 and 600. Give them both of a round of applause. Thank you.